everyone, it's Peter from Rock Daydream Nation, and today I've got a very special guest, the legendary Peter Hook. Joy Division, New Order, and now we've got Peter Hook and the Light, who's going to be coming to Australia in about 4 weeks' time. How are you, Peter?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Now, you're going to come to Australia and do dates up and down the coast, and you're going to be playing the New Order album, Get Ready, plus some New Order hits, I would assume.
Yes.
What inspired you to revisit the album Get Ready?
Well, I mean, when I started, I knew that I needed a gimmick. As my mother used to say, you need a gimmick, Peter. I've had a few gimmicks. I didn't want to pretend to be the group, which was what made it difficult. I'll leave that to those tossers to pretend to be New Order. So it was finding a way of playing the music, if you like, without pretending to be the group. I couldn't pretend to be Joy Division anyway. We Division we began with. So I saw an interview with Bobby Gillespie of Primal Scream, and he was talking about how he goes back to his own albums now and can't believe that he only played half the songs on each album, because the ones that he didn't play are his favorites now. So he wished he'd played them. And that was why he was playing Screamadelica in full. And I thought, that's interesting. That's like us. You know, as Joy Division, we'd play some tracks off Unknown Pleasures and ignore others. And then all of a sudden, 10 years on, you realize that you like the ones that were left behind. So I thought maybe I could do that. So that was how the idea became. So Joy Division was the first album. We played that in full. Then we went on to Closer Still. And then we moved into New Order with Movement, Power, Corruption and Lies, all the way up here to what is the 14th, I think, with Substances that we've played, which are the greatest hits. So I'm well on the way to nearly finishing my quest of playing every album. I've got 2 albums left, Waiting for the Siren's Call and Lost Sirens will be the next ones that I do to finish off my quest. So that's why the albums, quite interestingly, when you get to them, it's a hell of a job, because all of a sudden you're presented with 12, maybe 15 tracks with the singles at that time as well that you have to learn. So we're each learning each track, and you end up with quite a repertoire. You know, I mean, our repertoire now as the Light must be over 100 and odd songs that we can play if someone just shouted it. You know, because we've been through nearly all the albums of New Order. New Order, generally, even while we were together, they would only play about 17 songs. We'd only know 17 songs. And we played those 17 over and over again, thanks to Barney's reluctance to explore our catalogue, shall we say. So the thing is that, this is quite a relief and a release, and it certainly keeps the old grey matter going because of all these words and all these riffs that you have to remember. And interestingly, we just done my 50th birthday show, which was on the 4th of June, 2026, which was 50 years to the day and the hour when I went to see the Sex Pistols on the 4th of June, 1976. We did a retrospective, shall we say, of my career. So there was a lot of different tracks that we'd never played. So there was about 14, 15 tracks that we had to learn for that. So now we're coming to you armed with a hell of a lot of tracks to play besides the LP. The LP flies. It really does. It's 37 minutes long. So it's a great warm-up, shall we say, for, you know, it's like a great starter in this restaurant of music before we get to the greatest hits of Joy Division and New Order, and now various other songs and bands in my career because of what we've learned. So I can't figure out what makes each album different, but this one has been really, really enjoyable to play. I would have thought that, personally, that Technique would have been my favorite to play, but it wasn't. I would have thought Republic would have been my worst favorite to play, I thought I'd hate that, but I didn't. I actually quite enjoyed it, and it's like
Mm,
it's really weird. It's not what I expect when I get to these albums. This album in particular was very much written by Barney and I together because Steve and Gillian weren't available. Whether that was by choice or whatever they were doing, I never really found out, but they weren't there. So this is very much me and Barney going back to how we were in 1976 when we just wrote together. And
yeah,
I think that that might be it because there was no, well, there was arguments, obviously, taste arguments, but there was no big arguments about the material. And the material has actually got some fantastic bass lines on it, and it's actually got some fantastic guitar work on it. So I think that we did actually come back to basics. And probably that was where our heart lay, if you like. I mean, listen, the honeymoon didn't last long. We had a honeymoon on this and it soon went back to normal. So Get Ready does sort of stick up there like a diamond in the rough because we were actually getting on while we made it, which cannot be said about most of the other records. So, yeah, that is the difference. And I think that it shows in the playing. I mean, it is fantastically energetic and it is a great, each song sounds quite dissimilar to each other's song, which is your art in an LP if you want them to be able to be listened to over and over again. So yeah, I mean it's absolutely proved difficult to play. We've had to put a lot of work into it. In fact, I'm starting learning the album again today because I've had that time off while we did the 50th anniversary stuff. So yeah,
yeah.
I'm sort of looking forward to it and not looking forward to it to see how much muscle memory I've got left.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I was going to say about the muscle memory. You've got to get that up to speed. So,
yeah, I mean it's easily when we've played it as much as we have played Get
yeah,
Ready. We've
yeah.
we've played Get Ready more and in more countries than we have played any of the others. It's weird. I mean, and it's funny how you find things out because I never knew that Get Ready was our most popular LP in America. By far, it was the biggest selling album of New Orders in America, and I didn't know that until after we'd played it there, a
Yeah.
couple of times. So I suppose, yeah, the stats are quite interesting when you look at them, but it is hugely enjoyable to play. We all love it as a band, and that makes the next bit even more enjoyable, shall we say?
Do you think New Order was regarded more as a singles band in the US until this album? Because it's interesting you're saying this album was the first album that was your biggest seller, which I find
Yeah, I think
surprising.
so.
Do you think it's maybe they regarded you as more of a singles band?
I don't know. To be
Mm,
honest, we were very awkward in those days, and it worked. We really went against the grain, shall we say, particularly in America, but it did work. And we were playing concerts in America in the 80s, towards the 90s, that were like 25,000, 30,000. Our biggest concert on our
not too
own,
shabby. No.
33,000 in Toronto. So we were bigger than Oasis, bigger than the Spice Girls, even, in America. So we really did manage to conquer against all the odds because we were still very, very difficult in our relationship with the press and also our relationship with the record company.
Yeah.
It was very, against all odds.
America catches up with bands like
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
caught up with
interesting
bands
because
like The Cure. America
yeah,
caught up with bands like you.
yeah. I mean, it was weird because we went to, if I'm right, we as the Light, we played our seventh gig in Australia, and we've been back consistently ever since then. So we've really earned our wings, shall we say, by virtue of working in Australia. And we did the same thing in America. We are actually doing first tour we played of America. We made no money. We had to pay to play. The second one, the band got paid, which was good. And the third one, I got paid, which was quite nice. So yeah, it was like the old days of investing your time and having to win people over, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's a great compliment to be able to come back to places that I love so much. You know, I remember the first time we came to Australia, I was so blown away. It's the only place that I go to in the world that I could imagine living there would be Australia, whether it be Sydney, Melbourne, Perth. It would
Mm.
be. There's something about it that makes you feel that you could fit in, if you like, when with you doing it.
Well, Australia loves you, and Australia loves Joy Division and New Order. And I've said that if it wasn't for Joy Division, there wouldn't be thousands of bands that have sort of popped out of nowhere. I think those two albums single-handedly created so many alternative acts that came out of Australia.
Yeah.
So influential.
I mean, it always makes me wonder because it's sort of two categories. You get a lot of bands that sound like Joy Division and a lot of bands that sound like New Order. So
Mm,
without the two of them, you know, from the marriage of, pop, rock, and electronic with New Order, and of
yeah,
course, just, you know, the normal guitar lineup with Joy Division. So yeah, I'm very grateful to be in both, mate, to be, to,
yeah,
to be out able to do that. But yeah, I mean, Australia was a wonderful place for New Order when we began. And
yeah.
I mean, Factory Australasia and all that lot, it really helped part of the indie boom. And also like Triple J, places like that that were, you know, voting us very highly every year. It really laid a bedrock for us. It was. And it is a great pleasure. I mean, I don't know how the hell we're going to get to you this time. But yeah, we've not really worked that out yet. We're supposed to be changing in Dubai. So to come, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
With Joy Division, "Love Will Tear Us Apart" is a song that's just one of the most endearing cross generational song. It just has appealed to so many people. On a personal level, why do you think this song transgresses all generations and continues to this very day?
Well, I mean, Love Will Tear Us Apart is a great contradiction because it sounds like a very upbeat, happy pop song, where in actual fact, the lyrics tell a very dark story of a destroyed relationship
Mm,
for whatever reason. So it is very strange, you know, when we start playing it, the place goes wild and you're singing these lyrics that are bloody heartbreaking lyrics.
yeah,
It was a very bad time for Ian. And as I've said before, I wouldn't write like anybody to write a song like that about me. You know, so it's one of those great contradictions in it that the music, if you like, belies the message and people go along with the music. They might
yeah.
look at the gravity of the lyrics later, but it certainly grabs you, picks you up, and sends you home with a smile on your face. And I must
It's kind
admit,
of uplifting in a way because some people get uplifted with melancholy lyrics because
yeah,
the singer's talking to them and they can
mm,
experience it, and it's like this person's talking to me and I
I
understand
think
what they're
it's
talking about.
and not being naive here. I think that this probably happened to us all,
Yeah,
where love has torn us apart. So Ian really did capture it, you know, on that song in particular. I mean,
yeah,
and I remember Pete Saville, our designer, saying, "Nothing can stop you now because you've got a great pop song." And ironically, we went on to do another, which was Ceremony, which was sort of straight after it as Joy
mm,
Division. And then that, of course, was the last song. Ceremony was the last song we wrote, which
yeah,
a great, I mean, it was looking like it was going to be a great third album, I had to say,
yeah.
which was,
What do
yeah.
people get wrong about Ian Curtis? What is something that is he's totally misunderstood?
Ian was a very normal person in real life, shall we say. Just
Mm,
like the rest of us. All he wanted to do was just get through one day to the next and be happy and have a laugh. He was very accommodating. He wasn't moody. If you got on the wrong side of him, he was just, he'd stand up for himself, which he did on
Mm,
occasions. But yeah, he was just a normal guy. I mean, I get kids coming up to me all the time. Now that your audience spans generations and families come, with granddad, dad, son, grandson, you're looking at all
mm,
these families that stretch right through. And of course, the young ones, once they get into his lyrics and get into the music, they all want to know what Ian was like. And these kids come up to me, at 16, 18, 20, and they go, "What was Ian Curtis like?" And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, he was just like you.
mm.
He was just like you.
Yep.
And he found something that sort of brought him out of his life and maybe sort of took away the confusion that is very rife when you're going between 16 to 20. We started the group when we were 20 years old. So he found some way of using a talent that he'd been given to shape his life, which he did. I
Yeah.
mean, his life when he died at 23 was shaped and it's lasted for forever.
Do you think about him a lot, Peter?
Yeah, I went to see him yesterday. Funnily
Mm,
enough, I went down
yeah.
to visit his grave yesterday, which was quite nice because I'd not been for a while.
Yeah.
I missed out on May the 18th because I was away. So I was overdue a visit. But yeah, he seemed okay. He was at peace, which is all we
Yeah.
can ask for, isn't it? Then
Yeah.
there's lots of tributes around the grave, which always fascinate me. You
Yep.
know, the way that people will go out of their way to visit him, which I think is lovely. And I do hope that that happens to me. When I go up there to join him, shall we say? So it's nice. It's nice to have a visitor, isn't it? So there you
Yeah.
go. Hmm.
Absolutely. I want to talk about your bass style. You've got this very distinctive upfront bass sound. Can you explain how you landed on this sound? Was this over a long period of time or it just happened? I'm really interested to
No,
know.
it was quite simple. When Barney and I were playing together, there was only the two of us. When we actually got the drums involved, I couldn't hear myself because my amplifier was shit. And when I played the low notes, I couldn't hear. I could only hear myself when I played the high notes. So when I played the high notes, Ian Curtis would go, "Whoa, that sounds great. That sounds great. Do that again. Do that again." And it was literally through Ian doing that, going, "Do that again. Do that again." And every time we came to rehearsal, Ian would go, "Okay, play high, play high. It sounds great. It sounds great." That was how it started. And from a sound point of view, I went to see the Stranglers in Stafford, and I was fascinated, absolutely entranced by the sound of John Jacques Burnell's bass. And I actually found a piece of paper and a pen in the gig and actually wrote down his equipment so I could buy it, which took me a while because I didn't have any money. So, but I did actually end up with the same equipment of Jean Jacques. And yeah, it was pretty much his sound with my high playing that gave me that. The next step was going to see Susie and the Banshees when they played in Manchester and looking at Paul Simonon and thinking, why does he look so cool?
Yeah.
He looks so cool. And then I twigged it because his strap was long and his bass was low. And I thought, right, that's my next one. So I had John Jack's sound, Paul Simonon's bass strap length, and below it begat Peter Hook.
Absolutely, with lots of attitude and
Yes.
style. I mean, your bass stylings are the sound to me of Joy Division and New Order. I think it's like lead. There are some people that have lead guitar, but to me, it's the bass, and especially in New Order, it's the bass line that gets the groove where people do their dance steps. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah,
when you
I
were
mean,
getting into more the electronic
yeah,
styling
yeah.
in your bass, it's your bass where you're shaking your ass, you're doing the dance.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the problem was maybe for the others, which is where the resentment came in. They didn't like me stealing the limelight. So, I was just talking about an interview before you. I remember the first time they asked me not to play on a track.
Right.
Could you not play on this track? 586 it was. I ended up playing it on the record, but on the version
Mm,
that they did, that they were writing at the time. To be asked to not play on a track as a member of a group, oh my God, it was the biggest stab in the back. And
mm,
I thought, these bastards aren't your friends.
mm.
I mean, I was being lauded as the voice of New Order. And then these bastards in New Order decided to ask me not to play. And then Barney more or less went out of his way then to make sure that I had nowhere to play because he'd filled it up with every bleeding instrument he could get his hands on. And yeah,
Yeah.
it was really weird. Yeah, it was very Machiavellian turn of events as it happened. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Barney used to drive me crazy. I mean, there were tracks on not on Get Ready, on Waiting for the Sirens Call, where he'd say to me, "Oh, I've left you the middle eight to play on," and I go, "Middle eight? What about the rest of the fucking song?" You know, and these were songs that in some ways we'd written together, and he'd rewritten, and elbowed you off. It was terrible. It was a terrible situation to be in. The resentment was awful because the three of us, me, Barney, and Steve, were responsible for writing nearly all of New Order's music together.
Yeah.
Most of
Yeah.
it was written from jams. Very few songs were written without us playing them together, So, yeah, that betrayal, if you like, was quite shocking and
Yeah.
very, very destructive for the group. I mean, it's quite interesting because supposedly Barney is touring in New Order on his own this year because Steve and Gillian have left. That's what I've heard. So now Barney is New Order, which
Yeah.
is quite interesting. And he's actually booked a gig in Chile that he will be playing as the only member of New Order, which is quite rich because they actually sued me for passing myself off as New Order when we were doing the court case. They brought a case against me for passing myself off as New Order and Joy Division at the same time, which is pretty good going, isn't it? That.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm wondering if we should bring a case against him as passing himself off as New Order because he's doing it on his own. So yeah, I mean that is I didn't think that they were anything like New Order when
Yeah.
they pretending to be New Order.
Well, I've heard your band, and I tell you, they sound like the real deal, folks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was it was quite interesting that because I suppose that was a funny thing about taste. My taste was how New Order sounded, particularly on record. I wanted to
Mm,
capture that the proper sounds of all the instruments. Whereas Barney, Steve, and Gillian proved that when they became New Order, a lot of the songs sounded nothing like New Order. It
mm,
sounded like a bad lieutenant and a
yeah.
sort of bad electronic in
Mm,
a way. But maybe that was them getting their own ways. Maybe that was their taste. Maybe that was what they were hinting at when they didn't want me to play.
yeah.
So that was what this version of New Order is going to sound like with just Barney in it. I cannot imagine, with it. So, but I mean, I suppose he gets the Dracula effect, doesn't he? Of being able to suck on the blood of those young session men.
Yeah. Hey, I've got a question about Blue Monday. Blue
Oh,
Monday
go
is
on.
one of the biggest selling 12-inch singles of all time. Did you know when you recorded that particular song that was going to have legs and again be a kind of have an enduring appeal?
No, we moved on very quickly after recording Blue Monday to Thieves Like Us, which we thought was a much better song, which it
Mm,
is. I mean, Blue Monday is a very oral assault and it is unusual in the track. I mean, we nearly left it as an
really?
instrumental, Blue Monday.
Right.
Yeah, the only reason we put vocals on it was because Rob Gretton, our manager, said to us, "You've got to put vocals on this. You've got to do it.
Mm.
Barney ended up pinching the six-string bass line for the vocal, and then twigging a kind of verse. How does it feel into it? So we wanted Blue Monday to be the encore that we didn't have to play. We wanted to be able to go off and go and have a drink in the dressing room and press a button, and the encore would be played by the machines. It was, it's so lazy and so ridiculous. We just didn't like doing encores. We liked to play the set, and then we liked to
Yeah,
finish and go off and do whatever young men did at that point, right? But we didn't want to have to go back on. So Barney came up with the idea, well, let's get the machines to write a track. We'll write a
yeah,
track using these machines. Then we can just press the button and we can go and have a drink in the dressing room.
it's
And
fascinating.
it was Blue Monday. Yeah.
Yeah,
And Monday grew with I mean, I must admit, it was the perfect time to get the DMX. The DMX drum machine is vital to Blue Monday. The sequences and the Moog keyboards and the Prophet that came along at that time were absolutely vital to that track. They were brand new. The sounds were brand new. Now they're accepted sounds that are used on everybody's records. But at that time, they were brand new. So we were using a brand new drum machine that had great features. We were using the synths that were difficult to use, but we managed it. Barney was amazing at doing that. He did all the keyboards on Blue Monday. He did all the keyboards on most New Order records. So the thing is that he was brilliant at it, even if it took a hell of a long time. And yeah, it created something that sounded fantastic. But once we were used to it, because don't forget, we were listening to it every day over and over again for 6 months. So we were sick to death of it. By the time it came out, we didn't want anything to do with it. We were bored shitless by it. And we moved on very quickly to Thieves Like Us, as I said, which I thought personally was a much better song. So we had no idea. I mean, and we went through a lot of stages, Blue Monday. When it was released, it was a hit with DJs. So the DJs picked it up and they played it the summer after it had been released. And people came back from holiday asking, have you got that record, that New Order by Blue Monday? Because the people were getting it wrong. So there were a lot of orders coming in to factory for the 12-inch New Order by Blue Monday. And we're going, no, it's Blue Monday by New Order. You know, they got it the wrong way around. It was quite interesting. And it was thanks to the DJs that summer that actually got it re-released, because we were done with it. You know, Tony re-released it and it picked up everywhere then, and that's when it was a hit in England, and then that's the way it spread around the world. The greatest accolade, I thought, was Mixmag did a poll of 1,000 DJs as to which was the song that they played to pull a bad night out of the hole. What song do you put on to lift a shit night? And Blue Monday won it, hands down.
I I have
97%.
seen many dance
Like
floors, Peter, that have been empty, and that song comes on and it fills.
yeah, I know. And
So
you know, it
whatever it
was
was,
great.
juju, whatever the magic there
Yeah,
is.
yeah. It was a great testament to the production. Myself and Mike Johnson worked hard on the production of that song. Barney came with Steve and Gillian would come and chip in while you were doing it. But we were in Pink Floyd's studio in London, Britannia Row, which was actually quite old fashioned, but great equipment. You know, great old fashioned analog equipment, which gave it a wonderful sound. We ripped off Martin Hannett's recording technique, pumping ambience out and recording it back on the track that he taught us, that he nicked from Motown. So yeah, I mean, we had a great time making it that record, which was wonderful, you know. And we did the same thing with Perfect Kiss when we came on to Perfect Kiss. But Blue Monday is, I mean, my mate sent me a video like yesterday of the last song played at this huge festival in Manchester. It was by Too Many DJs, and it was their remix of Blue Monday, and it was the last song they played at the end of the festival. And it was like, yeah, it's amazing. It really is amazing Blue Monday alone keeps my whole family in food every year.
It keeps ticking
So,
over.
yeah, I mean, and considering for as the song goes, Love Will Tear Us Apart took about 3 hours to record, start to finish, right
Mm,
and then we
mm,
had Tear Us Apart at the end, 3 hours. Blue Monday took 9 months to finish,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So yeah, and yet they both earn roughly the same amount of music. So it just shows you that in music you cannot tell. A great idea can come and finish in 3 hours, or a great idea can come and finish in 9 months, or it can last years. You
Yeah.
know, and yeah, there's no accounting for songwriting. Songwriting is one of the dark arts of the world. It really, really is.
Yeah. One question, and I know you've been asked this a ton of times. You guys have been inaugurated into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Firstly, what are your thoughts about an award like that? And is there any chance you'll be breaking bread with the other guys?
No, I will not be breaking anything unless it's arms and legs. Um, only joking. No, I'd rather die than play with them bastards.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I mean, I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a different kind of award because it's voted for by your fans. And it's only with the support of the fans that you can get voted into it. And I was delighted after 3 years of not getting in that the fans were actually successful this time. Wonderful. And I think it's a wonderful compliment to the musicians involved. And let me tell you one thing, without them, I'd be playing to that pub behind you. There would be nobody there. They are the lifeblood of every group. And without them, you are nothing. So I am absolutely delighted. And I will be absolutely delighted to go and accept the award on their behalf. And I'd like to chop it up into little pieces and give them all a little piece, if possible, because without them, we wouldn't be going into it. It is
Yeah.
a great honor. And I love telling people I'm in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's fantastic. I'm not in it yet, but yeah, yeah, I'm being indicted in November. But
Absolutely.
yeah.
But I guess you'll leave the drama on the night to Oasis or bands like that, eh?
Well, yeah, I mean, drama. I don't even. Supposedly, the others have not said whether they're going or not. But if I
Mm,
doubt if they've split up as New Order, then obviously I don't think they'll be going, will they? Really, from
yeah.
what I've heard. So unless I'm my sources are wrong. So the thing is that yeah, it'd be fine. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, the other three's relationship with the fans was different to my relationship with the fans. Right?
Mm,
It was right. It was like that right from the word go. I would do all the fan mail and answer it myself. I used to take it
mm,
with me, a big bundle on the plane. And if we were flying somewhere, I'd be doing all the thing. And then I'd get them to sign it. And they were so reluctant and so unbothered by these wonderful people writing into us and saying stupid things, asking questions, some great questions, some shit questions. Who cares? They were showing their love and appreciation for your music, which I think is a wonderful thing. And in the end, I stopped asking them to sign the records. I thought, why am I asking these three? Because they're not bothered. I think Barney actually had a stamp made so he didn't even have to sign them. He could just stamp an ink pad on it. And it was like, I thought, fuck them, I'll do it. So I did it. And, the thing is that attitude, shall we say, from what I can gather, they still have because they never supported the bid, the last two bids. They never supported them on the social media that they control. They control the Joy Division page, they control the New Order pages, and they didn't even promote the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame bid,
yeah.
whereas we did on ours. So, yeah, obviously they're not asked, so
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, whatever.
But very well deserved and probably long overdue. Should have been years
Yeah, I
ago.
mean, there's a lot of bands. It was funny. I tried to get Billy Corgan to present me with the thing, and he was really annoyed because they're not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, look,
Yeah, I mean,
my
there's a lot of
personal
bad blood about it, isn't there? You know.
my personal opinion, Peter, you don't need a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to tell how good your group is. I think,
Yeah, but you see, the fans again like it, you
yeah,
know, and that's what that brought all our fans together to do it, you know,
yeah,
and
that's gratifying.
having the two bands, it is very, very bona fide from that point of view. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, it's like our Oasis going to turn up? Will they be bothered after pocketing 200 million each on their last tour? You know, I mean, it's yeah.
wait
They
and
you
see.
know the fans love them. They don't need any more, do they?
No,
Yeah,
Peter, it's been wonderful talking to you. I could talk to you. I'd love to talk to you again sometime and like this.
yeah,
Just so
mate.
much
Well,
we've got
next time we
covered.
run, feel free.
Absolutely,
Pleasure.
absolutely. So, folks, check out Peter Hook and the Light playing dates all around Australia. I'll put the dates below. And
Thank you.
Peter, I'll a new album maybe in the next 12 months.
Well, do you know what? I'm always looking for somebody to write with. It's not
Yeah.
easy, and I do a lot, and I play on a lot of people's records, which I have been doing lately, actually, which is great. I'm just a bit shit at promoting them, mate. I suppose that's my problem. I did a couple with Wolfgang Fleur that came out, which were very good, actually. So yeah, it's great to get to play with my heroes, if you like, you know, from Kraftwerk. So yeah, I'm still at it, and if anybody wants one, give us a shout. It's as simple as that. Yeah, I do miss that. I miss not being in a group and not having the group pressure to write. I really do. I mean, I know that with old musicians these days, it tends to be, shall we say, problematic. But yeah, I do. I like to get the bass out and have a go now and again. If anybody
Absolutely.
wants anything, give us a shout. It'd be a pleasure.
Yeah. Absolute pleasure talking to you, Peter. We'll check
And
you
you,
out
mate.
this way, and all the very best.
Thank you. Take care of yourself.
All right. Thanks, mate. See ya.